Hi, welcome back. That'll be my introduction this week. So this video isn't going to be for everyone, but I thought I've got a stack, just off camera, of like half of my... Let me explain. But like I never do that in a video, I never really explain. But it's always a basic concept, so I don't know why I need to explain. Every time I go and see a show, I try and buy the programme. There's a couple that I haven't got, but for the most part, I always get a programme. So I thought we could go through half of them. This won't be for everyone. It's kind of show and musical theatre and that based. If that's not for you, I'm genuinely so sorry. But if that does interest you, let's race through them. I'm going to be very quick with them because I feel like reviews are always too in-depth. Sometimes you don't want in-depth, you want short, sharp reviews. So let's go. First up, we have Warhorse. Now, I mean, I saw this years ago, like probably a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 years ago now. I remember the storyline. I didn't care about the storyline at all, but obviously the puppetry, well, obviously not, but it has really good puppetry in it, and without that I would have hated it. It was okay. Beautiful Thing. This was on at Curve in the studio. I remember really enjoying this. This was one of kind of the first plays I went to go and see. So again, going back a bit, it was very well done. It was a small cast, fairly simple set, but I remember like the beds came out the ground. I enjoyed this. I think it was pretty funny from what I remember. Am I a bit far away? There we go. Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. I remember enjoying this, so hope you were here for not great reviews. This is more just, you can see what shows I've seen. I feel like that might interest someone, not everyone, as I've already said. Maybe I should stop repeating myself. This was for a NT Live, so a live cinema screening of Angels in America, which was phenomenal. It was directed by Marianne Elliott, who we love, we adore. So yeah, long, but didn't feel long because incredible, great show. What more can I say? Should I rate them? I'm gonna rate them because if not, this just is so... What is this video? Warhorse gets a 6. Angels in America gets a 10. Beautiful Thing gets a 7.3. Dreamgirls will never leave you. This show I didn't have that many feelings towards. Like, I think it was... They all had talent. They all sang very well. The costumes were, you know, the costumes were the costumes. It was very much just like a show, you know. Do you know what I'm on about? I'd be impressed if you do. It kind of happened and I watched it and I enjoyed it, but like I've never like listened to the soundtrack since or anything like that. So Dreamgirls can have like a 6.9. Assassins. Stephen Sondheim, Assassins. I saw this at the Nottingham Playhouse. Phenomenal. I had to pee really badly in the middle of this. I've never have to go for a pee in the middle of a show. And this doesn't have an interval, and I got kind of 3/4 of the way through and it hit me. I had to pee, and I had to pee now, there and then. And it was press night, so I was next to the press people and I had to go to the toilet. But that didn't affect my enjoyment of the show. I thought it was very, very well done, very clever. I've listened to the soundtrack a lot. I'd love a soundtrack of this version, but this show, I didn't even know it was on. My cousin invited me to it, but like there are so many shows that, I mean, obviously not now, unfortunately, save our theatres. So many shows that happen, and I feel like people just don't have any idea of, including me. So I just think that's a shame because some of them are incredible. Assassins gets a 9.8 because I don't know what happened in the little bit where I had to go for a wee, but I assume it was good, but we can't be sure. But talking of Save Our Theatres, I'm gonna pop a link in the description below of somewhere where you can donate money or buy the Save Our Theatres, The Show Must Go On t-shirts if anyone was interested, because I really want to go back to the theatre when COVID is over and they might not reopen, so coins. Hamilton. Okay, let's get controversial up in here. So I saw this in previews in London, like the second or third night. It was like a couple of days before my 18th birthday? No, 20th birthday? Not sure. Before one of my birthdays. And it was good. However, I don't think this show deserves all the hype it has. I think, here's my true feelings of Hamilton. I think Hamilton has a lot of hype from America because American doesn't have that much history, and this is obviously history to them, so they went nuts over it. And then, because there was a hype and because tickets were $8.4 billion, when it came here, everyone got excited about it as well. And don't get me wrong, I think it's good, I think the staging is good, I think the soundtrack is good, but do I think it's absolutely incredible, the best thing I've ever seen? No. Soz. Victoria Palace is kind of an uncomfortable theatre. Having said that, I have been back to see it again, but I felt the same about it. So, Hamilton can have a 7.4. Maybe a 7.8. I don't know. And now it's on Disney Plus, and I didn't think that was a great recording either. But Hamilton, done. Home I'm Darling, which was on at the Dorfman? No. Yes, it was on at the Dorfman Theatre. It was, oh shit, what's her name? Catherine Jenkinson? No, not that. Catherine Parkinson, who is from the IT crowd. I'm sure she's done many other things, but this was great. This was such a good play. The premise was, she's like a 50s housewife, but they were just doing an experiment to see if the man could still provide for the house and the woman could do all the housework. I don't know, it was interesting. It was about feminism, it was about relationships, it was about freedom. It was very good. If this play ever comes anywhere, go watch it. It's a hoot, although it's not, but it's a good play. Home I'm Darling gets a 9.4 purely because there's just some bits that you couldn't see because of the staging. Welcome to The Rock, Come From Away. Wow. Wowie. What a show. Another show that doesn't have an interval, but this time I didn't have to pee, so I saw the whole thing. From about 10 minutes in until the end, I cried. For various reasons. Never really cry at a show. Wasn't like, but it was just, you know, really good show. You either cry from sadness or you cry from happiness and just that humanity of people. Great show. That can have a 9.7. I don't know why, I just don't want to give anything a 10. But Come From Away, great show. It can have a 9.3 because I don't like the opening number. But after that, it's all good. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a catchy title, really does roll off the tongue. Physical theatre, some people love it, some people hate it. I think it can go either way myself. I think this is a great production because it's high budget. I think by itself, the script and all that jazz of this show, I don't think stands for a lot, but because of the lights in the floor and the staging and all the rest of it, there's no pictures of it in here, which I thought there would be. So I can't really show you, but like this grid, if you've not seen it, is all lights in the show. It's good. I've seen it a couple of times also, so obviously I don't hate it that much, but I think, yeah, it completely depends on the production of this show. If it's a bad production, it's crap. I would think, I don't know, 8.2 for Curious Incident. This video is also not very funny. I hope you weren't here to laugh this week because we're just racing through some show programmes. Don't really know why I thought this would be entertaining, but maybe you're having a good time. I keep doubting my videos, so if anyone has any feedback or suggestions or what they want to see, please do let me know in the comments below because we'd be very happy to follow that. Spoil the next one. This is The Grinning Man. Wow, right. This show right here, potentially one of my favourite shows ever. Saw it at Trafalgar Studios, and then it streamed in lockdown, and I watched it 3 times in a week, and I was so happy I got to see it again. It's funny, it's, again, puppetry. The best puppetry since Warhorse is the main review for it. I actually personally think it's better puppetry than Warhorse because it just makes a better show in total, but maybe that's just me. A very good soundtrack, like a dark musical, which I think we need more of. I think we should have more dark musicals, and if you elect me as president, I will ensure that you... Incredible performances. I don't really know how to describe it because it's just like, it's different, it's quirky, It's kind of like if Tim Burton directed a musical live on stage with puppets, but Tim Burton wasn't involved at all. It was whoever I should actually be giving credit to. Here's the people I should actually be giving credit to, not Tim Burton, who's got nothing to do with this, but that's the vibe. 9.9. I don't know what my negative is for this, but I'm still not gonna give it a 10. There must be something I didn't like. Oh, at the very end, it's a bit distracting to listen to the final, very last bit that's sung. And that loses it 0.1. Wow. Such a shame, really. Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake. I also realised I've only got I've got half a stack of my programmes here, and I've probably done a quarter of it, and this video is already getting to the length that I can be bothered to edit. And you should probably bother to watch. So if people like this, we'll do a part 2, but if not, we'll just forget this ever happened. I've never seen actual Swan Lake. I might have seen it like on TV, but not in the theatre. But this was good. It wasn't really a ballet to me like it was, because they communicated through dance and story. But good set. It was just a bit repetitive, but I don't know dance that well, so that's probably very wrong opinion. I watched the whole thing just waiting for and then that happened, and I was like, okay, cool, we can go home now. But we didn't, obviously. We stayed till the end because I did enjoy it. But it can have like a 6.3. The Company 2018 revival. Again, Marianne Elliott. I cannot say enough positive things about this show. It was probably the best thing. Well, this is tight. Oh, there's a few best things I've seen, but wow. I don't want to say this is my favourite thing that I've ever seen, but I think it might be. It's getting a 10 because this show was perfect. The only thing that wasn't perfect was the audience doing an American reaction to Ladies Who Lunch and clapping for about 20 minutes. That's not how we do it over here, people. Let them finish the song before you start clapping. Thank you. Feel very strongly about this. The staging, the songs, the comedy, everything. That show was... My biggest regret with this show is that we only went to see it once. 10. That show gets a 10. The next thing is Amelie. I have seen twice and bought 2 programmes because they were different casts, and I appreciate the show that much. Now this show, I appreciate this particular production, the UK production, more than the show as a whole. I liked it before it came here, but the UK one, the soundtrack, the vibe, the staging, the vocals, Audrey Brizon, wow, incredible human being. Yeah. Act musicians, it worked really well. Don't always like act musicians because I feel like sometimes it doesn't really like why are they act musicians, but this, it was like French cafe culture, so it worked for the whole thing. There were some interesting acting choices from a couple of members of the cast, but we'll glaze over those. Again, incredible, it gets a 10, and then the soundtrack came out and I was thrilled and overjoyed, so that can have a 10. And going from a couple of 10s in a row to maybe a 0.3 at best, it's Cats. I can't really think of a positive to say about Cats. It's frustrating because I know that everyone in it was so incredibly talented, and apparently this is the first time I've seen it. This was at Kilworth House. It was a different staging because they were all like dressed as Jobs but as cats. I don't know, I didn't get it. Well, I do get it and I hate it. I'm not going to say there's no story because there is, but the story could be told in about 3 minutes and they drag it out over 2 hours. And they introduce a cat and then they say their name a bunch of times and then they go away and you don't care about them at all because they're just not, they do their bit and then they go away, and I don't know why you're meant to care for them. And I don't think any of the songs are particularly great, and I get it if you like dancing. If it was a dance show, wow, it turns out I've just started ranting about Cats. If it was just a dance show, if it didn't try and claim to be a musical and they cut the songs out, it'd probably be okay. Like, I wouldn't ever go and see it again, but it would be okay. But I think it's horrific. I get why people like it, kind of, a little bit, not really, because maybe it's the first show you see when you're like a dancer. Great cast, incredible. The cast can have a 10, the show can have like literally a 0.3. And then I've just seen how long this video is potentially going to be, so I'm going to stop. So yeah, I'm not really doing that many because I've started rambling about my hate for cats. I have others, so like I say, if anyone wants this again, let me know. We'll do a part, like eight parts. God, that'd be boring. So we'll finish off with a better one, In the Heights, which again, I saw twice. This is a show very close to my heart, was actually in the original England, what were we? England, the first people in England to do it, but it was at school, so it doesn't really count, but I was the original cast, guys. You'll find me on loads of recordings. This show, I think, is beautiful. I think this, I mean, I'm not going to be like, no one knows the show compared to Hamilton, but I think more people know Hamilton than this, by Lin-Manuel Miranda. But this is a popular one, so I'm not going to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I just think this show is so beautiful, about family and home, and everyone just belongs somewhere, and the soundtrack is popping, and again, one that I cry at. I say I don't cry at many musicals, but maybe I do. This whole soundtrack, I mean, there's someone here, like, obviously, because everyone loves musical theatre, obviously. Not obviously, stop being up yourself, Matt. There are songs like Breathe on this soundtrack, which are well known, and, you know, all the rest of it, but songs like Enough and Alabanza are beautiful songs. Love them. Love this show. And maybe if you don't like musicals, you might like this show because it's not too musically. But if you hate musicals and you've already decided that, then I'm sorry about that. There's no help for you. We'll finish that one up with a 9.8 because also really enjoyed this at King's Cross Theatre because it was like there's a train track there, so you sat like in traverse and the street was in the middle. That was pretty cool. We'll finish this one up. This can have a 9. I'm trying to think of a negative, a reason to not give it a 10, but I can't think of a negative of this show. I do love it. But I didn't feel as blown away by this as I did by this. This I left thinking, wow. This I left thinking, oh wow. You know, so this can have a 9.8 and there'll be no further questions. So that can be this week's video. Plenty more programmes in the sea. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more when theatres open. So if anyone does want more of this or any other musical theatre content, do let me know. If you hate this, also let me know and I'll delete it forever. Thanks for watching and bye. What's a musical song that says goodbye? Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Oh, Sound Music. Like when they're all going to bed. Goodbye. See ya.